Have you failed in business or a certain aspect? Well, today we're sharing our experiences. In today's episode of Journey of an Entrepreneur, business failures, turning your setbacks into success. I'm here with my co-host, co-founder, Karlin Humphrey.
Woohoo! What's going on, man? Let's get it.
Yeah, my name's Tyquon Jordan, and let's dive in. So we're going to be breaking this down into three parts. The first part is accepting failure. The second part is identifying mistakes and analyzing them. And the third is building resilience and moving forward. So, Carlin, let's start with the first part. How do we accept failure? And what is failure in the first place? Everybody knows it, but let's kind of structure it and define it.
The failure. So, yes, really, really tough thing to go through. Obviously, I think every single person in the entire world has gone through some type of failure in their lives. Really, failure to be the easiest way, and I think, just to keep it really simple, failure is giving up, right? Failure is just ultimately quitting, stopping what you're doing, and just saying, I can't do it. Or, like you can have setbacks in life, whether, through relationships or if you're, through your job or especially for your business. But the moment that you decide to just hang it up and stop moving forward or, trying to move forward permanently, that's what ultimately I think of as a failure. But again, we've all gone through that at some point of our lives. So, really the how to kind of accept your failures is you look back and you realize like, hey, yes, I didn't maybe necessarily have the right strategy. I didn't have exactly what I needed in order to complete what I was trying to complete. But understanding that, yes, that might be close, but how can I use that failure and the mistakes or, that I made in order to really move forward and to improve on the next venture that I decide to do. So that's kind of my mindset for what failure is and how to really accept that failure to improve yourself.
Yeah. So I see failure as a way to succeed. As humans, we always want certainty. And then life is full of uncertainties, right? We plan stuff, it goes wrong, or it outcomes turn out on ways we wouldn't imagine and didn't want to imagine, but we have to keep moving forward. The ball doesn't stop rolling. And so we have to accept, we have to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. And people want to be plan out their life in a certain way and be perfect, but things happen, mistakes happen. You know, just imagine if you put in effort, like say you put in 1,000 inputs in Excel or whatever, and if you make one mistake, or if you make 10, you know, 1% mistake on those 1,000 inputs, that's 10 mistakes. And those 10 mistakes may be magnified or amplified, so when the errors happen, that's what really gets brought to light. So all your good things doesn't pan it goes by and you're like, okay, that's good. But then when the failure happens or the setback happens, you're like, oh man, this is big. But that's only a couple out of the good things you've done. So you have to know that it's a numbers game. You just keep going forward. You're gonna get success, but you're also gonna get failures.
Yep. And one thing that you said, Ty, it is okay to fail. And that's one of the hardest things to train your mind to do is be okay with the failure, to not get down on yourself, to not just say, well, I failed at this, so the next thing that I decide to do, I'm going to fail at that, right? I mean, sometimes we look at the past and we think past results dictate future results, and that's just blatantly false. We don't know what's going to happen in the future, so don't let it affect what you do in the present. So I think about failure. I think about like, okay, this is the end of this path, but what's next, right? Always think about what's next after that failure.
Yeah, and so a little bit of a story with me and Karlin. We had what, two or three other businesses before our current
Oh
one.
yeah.
Yeah, and so we got the stuff ready, we got inventory, we got products.
Hmm.
We
It seemed like the greatest idea on planet Earth, man.
greatest
And
idea. And then life hits you. Things happen. COVID happens. We started another business.
yeah,
You
I
know,
mean, I think about that, Ty, and it's like, yeah, there's things that you can't even control, right? That may dictate to, a path closing, and like the more that you go into it, right? The more that you put into it, obviously, the more that failure is going to hurt. And it's gonna almost dissuade you from, again, moving forward and trying again. But you have to just keep pushing through. You
yeah,
cannot quit. Don't
yeah,
ever quit, because whether you failed or somebody called you a failure, like don't give up, because again, you learn something every single time that you fail. You pick up just a little bit extra information to help you in your next thing. So,
yeah. And it's tough because we had friends that joined us with the business and that business failed. We tried to bring them on to the next one, but they had that failure in the back of their mind that why are we doing this? This is going to end up failing anyway. And so you have to be the person that is so hungry to succeed, so hungry to change your situation, your family situation, that failures is just a stepping stone to get you there. And it's hard, but you gotta push. Only the people only remember the people who kept going. The people that fell off, no one knows them because they fell off.
yep. And I Ty, every great invention, every great product in this world, there was always a failure involved. Every great person in this world, every role model that you've had, they've all had failures. But
Yeah.
the thing that separates them is, like you said, they didn't stop. They didn't let that. They still had that hunger to still go on and to still complete the mission. So, yeah, you think about what separates those people that are forgotten to those that make a difference and really have that success. It's They didn't give up.
Yeah.
So.
And so this ties into the next point, which is identifying and analyzing mistakes. So you have your failure, but what are you going to do with it? Are you just going to, okay, I just failed. Well, let me just move on
Hmm.
to the next thing. No, you have to see what went wrong. What
Yep.
what areas of your life needed development? Because
Yep.
when me and Carlin started those businesses, we weren't in the place mentally or have the capacity to do those businesses. So we had to become the people that could run the business.
Yeah,
So
and right, and a lot of it is maturity, and again, learning from the prior mistakes. And one thing about failure and identifying failure, sometimes well, not sometimes, a lot of times it's easy for us to be like, oh, I failed. I kind of want to stay away from that. I don't want to get into why I failed. It hurts having to analyze the failure, right? It's like, you made a mistake and now you've got to keep looking at the mistake. It's tough. It's Nobody really likes doing it. But it's something that does need to get done in order for you to actually learn from that experience. So, yeah, I mean, like whether it was okay, we had a total, marketing fail. Like, why did we fail at this, marketing point? Well, we didn't really pay attention to this, or we spent way too much money on this particular ad when maybe we could have, just done marketing from a grassroots perspective. I mean, there's just different ways that you can analyze, but don't be afraid to really dig in and to be honest with yourself on why you failed. Don't let your vanity or whatever kind of stop you from looking into your past mistakes. You just gotta keep open mind and really be honest and with yourself. Like, why didn't that work?
Yeah. And that's a good point because currently, right now, we're trying to grow our YouTube channel. And so, you know, we put out stuff to see if people will like it. And YouTube's very good because you can put something out, like a short out, and see if people are clicking on it. You have all your data analytics and stuff. So right now, I'm very interested in that because I've noticed from the past couple of months or so the difference in clicks and retention just by researching what are the good hooks, what visuals can I use to attract people and make them watch longer, a longer watch time. So looking at your mistakes, your failures, and using that information to do better. And so I've used that to make the videos better, make people want to click on it more and subscribe. And hopefully they'll subscribe and then they'll keep moving up the value ladder, maybe going to our website, maybe downloading our app, maybe getting our premium offer in the future. So just analyze your mistakes and see what you can improve and that's that. So, Karlin, you got anything to add on this last point, or we're good
I think we're good. I think you hit it nail on the head. So
okay.
yeah.
All right. Well, nail on the head. So the next point is moving forward, building resilience. Just like the nail on the head, you gotta take some hits. What you gotta do. So
You're right about that. You're gonna take some hits, but you just gotta keep strong.
yeah,
Make sure you don't
yeah,
break.
yeah. And so let me tell you another quick story. So we were working on something, and then all of a sudden, YouTube, uh, like canceled our business account for some reason. I think it was like a glitch or error. And so that was a little setback because we have a lot of things linked on YouTube that goes into our app. And so that kind of shut off like more than half of our educational, informational videos. And so I'm over here freaking out, like, and we just things happen, setbacks happen, but you have to have that tough skin. Okay, if this really does delete all the videos, what can I do next? What backup plan should we do? Should we, have a backup storage of videos or whatever? But we have to build that resilience to be able to face challenges when they come head on.
Yep, yep. And something that you said a while back, control what you can control, right? Things that are out of your control, like okay, again, in business and in life, that those are going to happen, right? But what can you control from those things that occurred? That those external factors that maybe you can do to mitigate those. So, right, we couldn't control that there was a glitch on YouTube that wiped out our videos, right? So, what can we do next? So, I mean, obviously, we did our research. We looked at the YouTube community page, see like what's going on, how can we resolve this, and just from doing that research, we were able to find like, hey, yes, there's just an issue on YouTube's side. They're working to restore the videos and stuff like that, right? I mean, if we would have just panicked and gave up and just said, you know what, forget it all. I mean, that would have just been the end, I guess. But but we actually we did the research. We just made sure that there wasn't anything on our end. Make sure that we weren't somehow violating any policies or anything like that. And ultimately, we were able to get the videos back on. We learned that okay, what we are doing, we are following all the guidelines and rules of YouTube. So yeah, I mean, just it's just little things like that. Don't have the mindset of like, okay, this happened, so you just shut down, right? If something happens, what are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do about it? So yeah, that's literally what I think about when I'm thinking about building resilience. What's next? So
Yeah. And so this brings me back to another story I shared earlier about our first like main customer. And so I'll share it again. He was a beta tester when we first launched our app, and after the beta testing was over, he stayed on for a couple of months and left. Um, he said the app wasn't the right fit with his timing and schedule and stuff. So that hurt. Failure hurts. Setbacks hurt. But how do you move forward? So we took information, feedback from beta testers, from him, and and constructed our product, our service in a way that it will be more successful in the future for future users. Because you have to learn from your mistakes and your failures, or you're going to keep getting the same results. Yeah.
Yep. And like you said, it's about, to that second point, analyzing, right? You don't want to keep making the same mistakes. So you got to make sure that you're analyzing and making sure that you're doing something different than what you were doing previously, right? If you keep, what is the definition of insanity, is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting this, a different result. You can't just continue to do what you were doing if you've seen that the results aren't showing. So, the best way to kind of change what you do is to review, like, whatever that you have the information. Like for us, in Tyquon's example, it's like reviewing the feedback that we got from that particular beta test user, from our users in general, and then ultimately trying to frame our app to support the positive feedback that we got, and to also kind of minimize that, well, whatever that negative feedback was, like to make sure that we were making sure that it wasn't uh continuing on our app. So just whenever you're trying to analyze your failure and to try to build the resilience, just don't do the same thing, try something different, and go all in on it.
Yeah. And, you know, try something different, but also, you want to try a lot of different things, but you have to be focused on one main thing. Because I heard a quote for someone, I think it may have been Bruce Lee, right? He said, I don't fear a man that knows 1,000 kicks. I fear a man that practiced one kick 1,000 times. So learn how to get masterful, skillful at a certain aspect or business model. Because with me and Karlin, we had businesses in the past that failed. And, even with this business we have now, it it's hard, it's tough. There's other opportunities. We could probably start another business, but all right, this ain't working. So let's start another business. No, you have to. So our goal is to master this level of business. Once we master this level, like the $1 million or the $10 million business level. Once we master that, then we can maybe start another one or go. We have to master that kick 1,000 times. And once we do, no one's gonna mess with us. And then we're gonna learn another kick, right? And practice that 1,000 times. Then learn another one. And then your skills stack up. And then you can go in different industries and start businesses that are successful like that because you mastered the basics. So we're in the process of mastering. And in the process of mastering, it's not you have to fail. You have to failure is the way to mastery. It seems counterintuitive, but that's how it is.
Yep, and 100%. And yeah, and also thanks for clarifying. Yeah, you don't want to try a new idea once a week, and it's totally out of the blue. Yeah, that you're not gonna get anywhere with that. Just whatever you are focused on a singular idea, and there's gonna be things that, okay, well, with this idea, maybe I tweak it to this, or maybe to improve it, maybe we need to go this way. This part of the idea wasn't necessarily working, so maybe we can do this to make it even better, right? You don't want to make huge swings, but if you see something isn't working, don't be afraid to, within a reasonable realm, to get into, or to try to find something that'll help it, work at a higher rate. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
to pivot. You know, how many pivots
yeah,
we've done, Karlin, right? We done a lot, but they weren't like drastic pivots where we're,
hmm
um it just certain tweaks, and those tweaks are better. If the pivot is making you better in the long run, then go for it, right?
yep. Don't stick to just like one. If you see something isn't work, like, in, well, for whatever reason, right? You've seen the results. Yeah, don't be afraid to pivot. It's tough. It is really tough to pivot, because you could have, been working on something for a month. I mean, I know for ourselves, we pivoted our business, from something that we were trying to build for 2 months, and realized, okay, this better feature would be, more productive for our business. And so we maybe lost a month or 2 months of work, but ultimately it was the right decision for us. So, but it's just something that you have to analyze, with your team, and to make sure that you're not just doing it off a whim, but actually have data to back it up, and that you really think about what you're deciding to pivot towards. You don't
Yeah.
want to have to pivot and then pivot back. That's ridiculous.
And then travel.
Yeah. So, food for thought.
Yeah. So step number one, accept failure is a part of life. Failure is the stepping stone to success. To identify and analyze the failure. That is critical in how you move forward and build resilience and become a better business person and leader. Now, Carlin, you got anything to add before we go?
Man. Last thing I'll add, a question for you. What was the biggest failure that you had, not even with the business, but just with life in general? What would you say?
Carlin, that's an awesome question. So, I guess the biggest failure. So, as I said before, I grew up in a single parent household. And, I played sports, I played basketball. And, everyone that plays basketball thinks they're going to the league. They're going to the
Oh
league, they're
yeah.
going to buy their family a house, their friends a house, And so, I did well. I did okay in high school, and then college, it was tough because a lot of it is really dictated by the coaches. So, my college career didn't go how I wanted to. And so after sports, all you know is sports. So you lose your identity. And so you don't know who you are, and it feels like you're lost. And you're like, man, I'm supposed to be farther where I thought I was gonna, buy my mom a house and a car and give me a car and a house. And when it doesn't happen, it hurts, it's painful. You don't know who you are. And so I went a couple of years where it was just so tough and I felt like I just failed. Even though on the outside, people looking was like, oh, you got college degrees, you're doing well for yourself. But I just felt deep down that I know I didn't reach my potential. And so that's one of my biggest failures I felt like. And so I got over that through reading and researching and listening to motivational speakers. And so we also put in our app our identity, for your identity and your self exploration. And so This allows you to dig deeper of yourself, see who you are, look on the inside, and find hope, find a glimpse of light to show you there's other ways of living your life and feeling better about yourself.
Hmm. Hey, well said, Ty. And I mean, I played a little basketball too. So I know a little bit how, how that felt. Thinking about my failures also in college, not playing basketball though. It was actually academics. I got into my dream school, University of Texas. You can see it right here.
This guy.
But always wearing something, man. Something Longhorns, man. But anyway, so yeah, and my first semester, I did horribly. I never in my life had I ever failed. I mean, I don't even think I had gotten a C before in my entire life. And uh, I had calculus one in college first semester, and I absolutely failed it. I studied, I tried my best, and yet I could not pass that class. And but at the time, I mean, it's hurt. I mean, it was just like, wow. I mean, I need this class in order to get through school. And if I'm failing the first semester, am I good enough to even complete college? Am I smart enough? It had me thinking that I just wasn't good enough. And um, so, but what I had to do is I had to look at myself and I had to say and identify my mistakes. What am I doing wrong? I wasn't studying enough, but it wasn't just I wasn't studying enough. I wasn't studying the right way. How I was studying in high school wasn't good enough for what I needed to do in college. So I ended up reading on, how can I build better study habits? What techniques can I use? And so, for me, it was one making sure I'm taking care of like my homework and stuff like that, creating to do lists, and we have a lot of stuff on our Dash Wellness app about task management and strategies, and so I just want making sure that I was completing the work I was doing before I was taking the exams, and then studying for the exams, making sure that one technique that I like to use is writing down stuff on flashcards. And so that was something I didn't do in high school, but it turned out that really helped me in college. And, once I finished or I changed my whole study habits, I ended up actually getting an A in calculus. If you could, yeah, I know, I can't believe it either. I don't know how, but yeah, but anyways, that failure, I literally failed calculus. I turned it into an A based off of not giving up, not, dropping out of college and, just stopping my dreams. I changed, I identified what I needed to work on. And I was resilient. I didn't let, if I didn't know a concept, I didn't let it get me down. I just, I was resilient. I just went harder. I made sure that I understood the material, and I made sure that I was prepared for when my exams came. So, I mean, it's just a little, that's a small thing, but you can apply that to anything within your business, right? You're going to have failures just like myself and Ty had, but how are you going to turn that failure into an A? So,
Yeah. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and we will see you next time for episode 6. We got something special for you, so stay tuned. All
all
right.
right.
See ya.